Let's see here. Let's see here. Hello, hello. Is it this one? Oh, that's not right. Hang on. I'm down in a corner. Hang on. Can we? Okay. Uh, Almost there. Bring me up a little bit. Hello? Hello, hello? I have no idea if Will is joining us today. I don't know. We were talking this morning. We aren't always great about getting on the same page with things that are happening. So he could be joining. He might not be. I'm going to leave you guys. I'm going to pretend like I know. And then I'm leaving you guys in anticipation of if Will be joining us today. So hello, those of you guys watching the live stream and those of you checking this video later. It is the morning after. That's not true. It's the afternoon after. It's the day after the premiere of Campaign 4 of Critical Role. And I gotta say, I liked what I saw from last night's episode. I'll go ahead and repeat. We will be doing our episode breakdown every Tuesday of the following episode. So since the episode was last night, this next Tuesday, you can expect sometime in the afternoon to see our full breakdown of it. Something else Will and I have talked about, we're probably moving away from the long form recaps. We haven't said anything official about that yet, but if you catch up based on our recaps, those are likely going away. And not for any particular reason other than they were very long and took a lot of work to get prepared. And even then, we still missed key details. But they also didn't really seem to get much traction in the sense of we just thought, okay, what do people find valuable? And it didn't seem like very many people watched those recaps. And so we just didn't want to waste anyone's time, really what it was. What's up, Sharky? Yo, first stream. Good to have you here. Carrot Plush, great to see you as always. Ryan, what's up? Eric, what's up? For everyone else tuning in today. But typically, if this is your first time checking out the stream, this is a very casual, it's a 20-30 minute stream. It's very brief. It's like lunch hour stream. And usually Will and I talk about whatever's top of mind, what's happening in the world, which that's such a stupid thing to say. It is definitely not a what's happening in the world. We're not talking about, politics. What's happening like in the nerd world is what I should say. So, we talk about Critical Role, we talk about Worlds Beyond Number, we talk about video games, whatever's top of mind for us. And so since last night was Campaign 4's premiere, obviously we're going to keep a lot of that chatter and discussion for Tuesday. Did we already talk about Critical Role? Not yet. We'll, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about it today. Film Addict, hello, sending love from Thailand. I haven't seen the first episode, but Guy spoiled for some bit, got spoiled for some bits. Oh, both you and Will are doing well. We are doing well, and it's always great. I had Thai food last night for the premiere of Campaign 4, so you would be proud of me. So all that to say, gonna have our full discussion on Tuesday afternoon when we publish that video, but let's talk a little gut check. First thoughts. I loved it. Loved the episode. Man, as soon as I saw Brennan Lee Mulligan in his black Calamity shirt, I knew we were in for a treat. I loved that opener of Liam. Describe your character as you are about to see your brother killed. Yeah, you're right. I should probably not mention spoilers, so I'll try to avoid other than what I just said. Other than the line that Brennan said, I'll try to avoid any specific spoilers. Loved the vibes. Great episode. Very atmospheric. The world is so interesting, so intriguing. I'm very curious about, from a lore perspective, the factions involved, what's going on, the state of the world. For players who have more religious-oriented characters like Cleric or Paladin, I wonder, how does that relate to a world where the gods are gone or dead or whatever the exact phrasing was in the premiere the information they opened with. So curious about that. And I loved everyone at the table. I really enjoyed. There were some great interactions. I'll just say, spoiler free. Sam and Whitney Moore. Man, the two of these people I think are going to be one of my favorite pairings. They're very fun, very cool. Ryan said, "Not gonna lie, I think I'm going to like this one as much as C2 when it's all said and done." That would be great, you know. And I'll just say also, I enjoyed C3. I love the characters from C3. From a content perspective, Will and I are pretty unabashedly, you know, we love Critical Role, and so we pretty much always lead with loved this, but here are a few things I, you know, didn't quite hit. This is not a channel where, you know, there's some other channels out there that's like, why Critical Role is dying, you know, and just stuff like, we're just not really that kind of channel. So we like Critical Role. We enjoy Critical Role, though we do have our criticisms. So all that to say, you know, Critical Role Campaign 3 definitely had its pain points. I definitely liked the characters. One of the biggest vibe shifts is Campaign 3 was like, not House of Horrors, just everyone was wild. Everyone was wild. And you really, Liam was the only like central grounded character, it felt like. And in this campaign so far, I can see that in a few different places. I love Luis's character, excuse me. I love Travis's character from like that point of view. Liam kind of has that character. Like there's just a really cool, some central grounded characters that are really interesting. And I did not see a character last night that I did not like immediately. Now, having said that, I didn't make it to the end. I have about an hour and a half left, I think. When I turned it off, Matt Mercer's character was about to be introduced. So I had just seen Talison's character. Matt's was about to come on. So I haven't seen Matt's, I haven't seen Ashley's, and I haven't seen Marisha's. I haven't seen those three characters. So, you know, there could be some like, I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. You know, we'll see kind of what happens. Sharky said Travis's new character is an absolute banger. Totally agree. We were saying in Discord, is that a Slavic accent? I mean, dude, just like, let's go, Travis. You sound awesome. Yes, Carrot Plush. I don't know what you mean. Chetney was the pinnacle of moral and plot-driven characters. You know what's funny about Chetney? Chetney, we had, so in terms of like a content perspective of like things that get left on like the cutting room floor, so to speak, I had a long form video about how Campaign 3's characters were actually the baddies. And one of the examples I had was Chetney. And there's a moment in Campaign 3 where he, you know, attacks the shopkeep owner whose prices are too high. And really, this is all like out of good fun, by the way. It's not really meant to be anything super serious, but that video never got finished, never got published, never happened. And we have quite a few others like that too. But yeah, I mean, some very morally gray characters in Campaign 3. Which also kind of led to like a little bit of a strangeness with like the overarching mission for camp. Like we're saving the world, but we're also not independently very likable. Like these are the heroes of the world, but they're also kind of sketchy with, you know, it's like, what's going on here? But anyway, individually loved those characters as well. So, but yeah, I enjoyed the characters that I did see last night. Classes are interesting. I will say it didn't take long for, you know, some of the tired Reddit isms to show up. I saw one comment. Someone was mad that some of the other classes they weren't mad. I have no idea. Someone was criticizing that there wasn't every class being represented. And, you know, and sometimes we do this to ourselves because some of the chatter before the classes were revealed was, there's 13 players. What if everyone did a different class? Then you'd have like this really, you know, buffet, the charcuterie board of classes. Like, wouldn't that be awesome? And there was some energy around that, and that got mentioned a few times. Well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And, you know, We have some duplicate classes, and yeah, I think, and I feel like Will and I probably, because we're like content creators about this, we probably pay attention too much to it. You know, in the grand scheme of things, this person probably was just making an offhand comment, like, "Oh, I wish more classes represent." You know, it's an offhand comment. Me and Will, through like our lens of content, you know, we're like, "Why is everyone complaining?" You know, it's just we probably like amplify it in our own mind of like what is really not a big deal. But you know, friendly reminder to everyone that you know, this stuff's just content. It's just stuff, you know, you're not gonna like all of it, and there's some stuff you really don't like. And a great example of this would be man, I loved Ashton in campaign 3. Ashton is one of my favorite characters. And if you get on Reddit, many people do not like Ashton. So, and that's just okay. It's fine. You know, it's okay. You're not gonna like everybody, you're not gonna like every class. But having said that, what I've seen so far, I like everybody. I like all the classes. Carrot Plush says, it reminds me of Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer from season 2. Great show, by the way. This takes me back. I watch this every week. Loved this show. Specifically where he helps Buffy because he wants the world to burn, but a burnt up world doesn't have blooming onions. They can all multi-class, let's be real. Absolutely. Some might already be. I won't say who, but just a little tease. And some of them, yeah, some of them on their character sheets, they're now revealed character sheets. We can see some have already multi-classed. And it looks like we're at level 3 for the start of our campaign, which is it makes sense to me. We talk a lot, or rather, you know, those of us who've DM'd a lot, level 1 is just, it's a little difficult from a player perspective, but more importantly, I think from an enjoyment perspective, starting at level 1's a little boring. It is Eldritch Blast. You know, that's pretty much it. You know, and then more importantly, at level 3, everyone has their subclasses, which I don't remember in 2014 rule set. Some people got that at level 2, and some got that at level 3. I feel like for the 2024 rule set, they changed that or tweaked that or something. But regardless, everyone has their subclass now, which is really cool. The only question or caveat there, I guess, if someone is multi-classed, there'd be 2 levels in one and 1 level in another. So again, presumably that would then allow them to have a subclass. Yes, I love this. I love this theory, Ryan. We can agree Sam's lying about his class, right? Let's go. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Sam, you cannot trust Sam Riegel. This little quirky, clever guy. I think there is so. First of all, love his character. If his character was genuine in, you know, like, trying to avoid spoilers, if his character is genuine in how he's presented it, I would be fine with that. I would be totally fine. However, if his character is a front or there's some twist, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. I think it's right up Sam's alley to have something going on here. But again, Sam and Whitney, I keep wanting to call Whitney Molly Ringwald, by the way. I don't know why I keep thinking Molly in my head for some reason. But Sam and Whitney have such a great chemistry between the two of them, and they're like such a perfect pair. And I'm excited to see where that goes, and also just like where some of these other pairings have formed and developed. So yeah. Character companions, though, are so amazing, have lots more than all the other seasons, which is going to be so fun. Yeah. His Ryan Wesley, his charisma low, wisdom. You mean high charisma? High charisma, low wisdom cleric, and it's Sam. Can we also talk about the fact that I don't know I've ever seen Sam not play a high charisma character? Now, that might be a little biased of me. FCG maybe wasn't high charisma. Reyes was high charisma, lied a lot. Loquacious Sealy, high charisma, lied a lot. And if you're saying that Wakander, his current character, is also high charisma. Just like, okay, I don't know. Can we talk about the new announcement segment, by the way? I'm kind of indifferent to it. Not had a charisma of 5. Okay, I did not watch campaign 2, so that would be why that one's totally over my head. New announcement segment. Will and I have talked about this before. Every year, Critical Role becomes more corporate. I don't mean that in a that sounds very negative. I just mean more produced, more of a brand, more this and that. So I will say, I think Jake mentioned this. The cold open straight into the session is such a great feel and such a great vibe. Which, the alternative was fine too. Opening with announcements was fine as well. But just like opening up into the sesh had such a great feel to it. I will say, despite it being a pre-recorded announcement segment, Sam was hilarious. I thought he was great in it. I love Sam's bits. But, end of the day, things are going to continue to change. They're going to continue to develop. And, some of that change will be really easy to digest. And for some of us, we'll wax poetically about the good old days. The days of Geek and Sundry and opening fan mail on stream. And, it's just things change. So, anywho, we also saw the episode was just a little over 4 hours. So runtime seems very similar. And I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for what the future holds. It's going to be very interesting to see these tables split up. And, we did get a correction on one of our videos. I think I had said that Brennan had asked the players what table they wanted to be at in terms of Seeker, Schemer, and Soldier, and that the players organized themselves. And someone corrected us on one of our videos to say that that's not accurate. Brennan met with the players, but then Brennan divided people up, which makes a little bit more sense from like a logical, like a DM perspective. Because otherwise, if it's like you guys decide, you don't want to end up with like 8 people at one table, 2 at another, and then just like the solo, happy to be here, just the solo person at the table. So that may be an accurate correction. I'm not sure, but we'll know for sure, I guess, after the next couple episodes, what's going to be happening there. So one question, do we know, are they still taking the last week of the month off every month? Like, will it continue to be 3 on, 1 off? I was worried we wouldn't see all the characters in the first episode. Yep. I'm glad we saw them all. Like I said, I still need to see the final three, Matt, Marisha, and Ashley. But like I said, from what I've seen, I've really enjoyed everyone's characters, and it's been fun. What an amazing episode, y'all. I can't wait for your discussion on it. Thank you so much. And if you just tuned in, those discussions will always be on Tuesdays going forward. So every Tuesday afternoon, I have a standing meeting every Tuesday morning. And so sometime early afternoon, Will and I are going to sit down and record that. And it usually takes about an hour or so to record it. Then we'll publish it. So late every Tuesday afternoon, we'll have our discussion on that previous week's episode. So coming towards the end of our stream today. Like I said, it's always just a quick, what's going on kind of stream. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, obviously, stay tuned to the Discord. We'll continue to have our live chats on Thursday nights, which is a great opportunity for we ask people who generally like Critical Role to come join the live chat, only because it seems like there's just always people who watch Critical Role. It's probably a big reason why they got rid of the chat, which was, by the way, such a weird feeling. And Will and I talked about this. It makes sense why they did it, only because I feel like Twitch chat was such like a mixture of something very racist or bigoted, some kind of like needless rules lawyering of like the actually it shouldn't have been that role, rather than like understanding that, rule of cool, or the DM's going to do whatever they want to do. And then emojis. I just feel like that's what it pretty much was. And then like the occasional question or comment. But so I understand them getting rid of it. It was very strange from like a community standpoint, in the sense of, as I was watching last night, I kept wanting to look and see, like, I guess feel part of the whole. And it was weird not having the chat box there on YouTube, and just, I could see how many people were watching it. But that's what the Discord's for, I guess. You can chat with people, talk with people. But going back to my original point, criticisms are totally fine. Not liking certain things are totally fine. I think people can just maybe grow up and not take it too personal. If you don't like a certain thing, you don't like a certain character, that's fine. But we do ask people, hey, this is for Critical Role fans, for people who enjoy Critical Role as a whole, who enjoy D&D. So that's kind of a nuanced take, I guess, in the sense of, I don't know if I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth there, but because I'm pretty much saying like enjoy it and criticize it, but not too much. I don't want it to come across that way. It's just, it's I think a good example is like, hey, yeah, love the episode. I really don't like that character. I don't like that class. I don't like that. That didn't make much sense to me. It didn't vibe with me. Which is fine, versus, here's why the latest Critical Role episode is such a crime against humanity. They should go offline. I don't know. But, and then also the other thing too, kind of a wild take. I feel like I'm trying to get better in my life about like not sharing when I don't like something. Like, someone gave my wife and I advice years ago about being agreeable, and the value in like when someone's like, oh, I love that restaurant, and you hate it, not being like, I hate that restaurant. Because then it's like, okay. But, just like, oh, cool. Here's another restaurant that I like. I think it's probably just good advice for a lot of us. But if there's like an actual chatter going on, hey, what are the classes that seem to be working? Hey, I don't think this class is really interplaying well. That person's a loner and they hate people. And it's always weird when they're on camera because they're always getting up from the table. And Brennan's saying like, hey, sit down. I'm making this up. This is a totally made up situation. So it's not referring to anyone in particular. But, I guess all I'm saying really in this very long-winded take is I hope that the Discord continues to be a place where people can enjoy Critical Role, have good discussion, good chatter about it. And, we can all enjoy this thing that we love. So all that to say, it's October. It's fall season, friends. I don't know if you guys like the fall. I've definitely have had my favorite seasons in the past. And I feel like the world is so like effed up right now. I feel like I have such small wins that I'm like, I'm going to focus on this more, like enjoying my cup of coffee. But one of those things is I'm trying to enjoy all the seasons more. So I typically have not liked fall too much. But I'm trying to like it more. So for my last thing. And I'll address this one last thing. Sharky said, one last thing is I was a little put off by Abria, unfortunately. This is a very difficult topic to broach, and I'm only going to do it just very briefly, and then I'll leave it. I'll say a few things. Abria is an amazing player, a wonderful player. She's incredible in Worlds Beyond Number. She is excellent. What's so difficult about talking about Abria is that people mix genuine criticism with aggressive black woman stereotype. And so it's difficult. Here's another good example is when Erika Ishii was on the show and criticisms were, she's so loud. And it's like, where are you going with that? What are you saying with that? So this is all me saying like, totally fine to not enjoy a character. We typically don't talk about that kind of topic because people get they have a hard time with, again, what's a genuine criticism and then what's, not. So anyway, one second. So having said that, I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I can't bring myself to like summer. It might be based on where you live too, if it's too hot. But love you all. We will catch you this next week. Stay tuned for Tuesday for our full discussion and chatter about the episode. Join the Discord. And love you. See you later.